All right, we are continuing our series where our chefs, in this case Chef Lance, come up with a recipe and we are going to attempt to cook it here in our own kitchen. Today we have got one that I didn't even know how to pronounce. I literally had to look it up. It's called Beef Bourguignon, which is French. That's how an Okie says it. If you want to know how a Frenchman says it, watch this clip.
Beef Bourguignon. Beef Bourguignon.
So in fact, it's not beef, since you know that this channel is all about wild game. It's all about elk, and that's what we're fixing on this one. This one has a lot of steps in it, so let's get started. All right, so for this recipe, the cut of meat that we chose is the sirloin, which is in the hind quarter. The reason that we chose this one is because we're using a low and slow method, a moist cooking method. And you'll see whenever I cut into this, the sirloin has a lot of sinew that goes through it. Now we've cut off all the silver skin, but the sinew using the low and slow moist cooking method will actually break down all that sinew and make this a really tender piece whenever we're done with it. All right, so I'm just gonna show you real quick, and this one's not too terribly bad. This was actually a young cow, so it doesn't have a ton of sinew in there, but you can see these lines going through there. That's what the moist cooking method will break down, because we're gonna end up braising this or simmering this for multiple hours until it's completely tender. So that's why we chose this cut of meat. And this one is going to be absolutely delicious. We got this in New Mexico from our friend Anthony Madrid, one of our outfitters. And like I said earlier, this was a really young cow, so it's gonna be tender to begin with, but we also dry aged it for a couple of weeks, and I think it's just gonna turn out fantastic. One thing though that I will tell you, that if Chef Witch was here, he would be getting on to me right now. See all this over here? I'm not supposed to have that on there. You're supposed to have a clean working area, and only with what you're immediately going to work with. So I do know that, but I didn't do it. He's not here to get on to me. All right, so I told you just a few minutes ago that this one has a lot of different steps to it. I'm just on step one, and I'm already questioning what's on there. I'm sure it's perfectly right, but it just seems weird to me. So Chef Lance says that we cover the bottom with bacon. We're going to render the fat, but he says cover it with about 1 inch of water and then let the water cook out and then let the bacon get crispy. I'm gonna call him and just see what he has to say, just to make sure that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Good afternoon, Greg.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I am good.
So I'm telling the camera right now that we've got Chef Lance on the phone, and I'm making your beef bourguignon, except obviously it's elk bourguignon, and I'm questioning something that you have in the recipe. So I've got my Dutch oven on top of the stove. I've got the heat on. I'm getting ready to put the bacon in, but you say cover it with 1 inch of water. That seems really weird.
I know it seems really weird and probably goes against everything you've ever learned about cooking bacon. But the method behind the madness is bacon fat has a very low smoke point, and you're trying to render out as much fat as possible. So by covering it with water, you're going to be able to render out all of the fat from the bacon without burning the bacon fat, because you're wanting that to saute your vegetables in.
Gotcha. How long will it take it for the water to cook out?
Probably about 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
You can usually tell because you'll start hearing like little pops.
Okay.
As the water cooks off, and you end up with more of the actual bacon fat.
All right, well, if I burn my house down, call 911 for me, please. There you have it. Chef Lance says. I've just got bacon pieces is what I went and bought at the store. And this recipe is already up on fromfieldtotable.com, so make sure you check it out there. And so all the ingredients, measurements, and everything will be on there. It just seemed weird to me to cover bacon with water. I've never done it, but that's why he's a chef and I'm not. All right, so we've got the bacon ready to go. We got lots of good fat in there. Avocado oil. Should be good. All right, so just like in our previous video, we're gonna do this in layers. We're not just going to dump it all in there. One, it'll cool the pan down, and we want to be able to see the bottom of the pan so it's not crowded. That way the meat actually browns and doesn't steam. And all we're doing is browning this. We're not completely cooking it because it'll cook in the juices once we get it all in there. Somebody woke up from their nap. What you think? All right, so we've got the meat brown. Now we're going to add the carrots and the onions. So we're just going to cook these until the onions are translucent, and then we'll add the garlic and the spices. Oh, and the tomato paste. All right, so we're already on step 5, which is about 3 more steps than any of the other recipes I've done. So I've already raised my bar just a little bit. All right, so we've got the onions and carrots going. We're gonna add in some garlic. Add in the tomato paste. Some fresh rosemary. We're gonna throw in there. And some fresh thyme. So we'll be pouring the wine in next, and that'll help deglaze the pan. And then we'll add in our beef broth. We'll put all the meat back in, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about an hour without the lid so that it reduces a little bit. And then we're gonna put it in the oven at 325 degrees, and we'll check it about every hour, maybe 2 or 3 hours, and we should be good to go. The wine here, cover that up. Ooh, yes. All right, so we are adding a full bottle. We chose a Cabernet. Chef Lance says something bold with lots of flavor to it. So, and he says use the whole thing. That was the whole thing. All right, next is all the beef stock. Oh shit. Hey Duke. I can't even pour right. I mean, and I didn't even get to drink any of the wine. What the hell? All right. So I'll clean up my mess here in just a second. Look how rich that looks. So we've only had this simmering for about the last hour, obviously without the lid on. That's to help it reduce just a little bit quicker. So what we're going to do now is put the lid back on. I've got the oven set at 225. Now Chef Lance has set at 325, but I'm going to be gone for a little while, so we're doing just a little bit lower temperature. We put the lid on because that will help it retain the moisture and tenderize the meat that we have in there. So let's get that in the oven. Oh, this is huge. And then we're going to check it about every hour or so. I have no idea what step anymore, but now it's time to do the pearl onions and the mushrooms, which will also have some thyme and some garlic in it. I just rendered some more bacon, and I'm pulling the bacon out as per Chef Lance's instructions. And what we're going to do is throw the thyme in, a little bit of garlic. I believe it's 1 clove. That's got to be close. Maybe just a little bit more. We like garlic. Then these pearl onions are going to go in, and we're just going to let them get dark on one side. And then we'll pull those out. Then the mushrooms will go in, we'll soften them, and then all of it goes back into the stew, which is in the oven, and we'll let it go for another hour. Man, I wish you all could smell this because it is smelling so good. All right, the final step before eating anyway. Ooh, that is boiling. Look how good that's looking. Adding in the mushrooms and onions that we just did. Now that's gonna go for about another hour. All right, one thing I will say about this one is if you're in a hurry, don't do this one because it does take a little while. We run 3 different companies, and so we usually do something really quick. And this one took us a little while, but we had a learning curve too. It's our first time doing it. So anyway, we're going to pull it out of the oven and see what we've got here. We let this one go a little extra time too. I did turn the temperature down because I left for a little while and obviously came back. And so I turned the temperature down, way down, and just let it simmer for a while. Lots of good juices. We made some egg noodles. Now you can use potatoes, or you can use rice, or you can use just the stew, use nothing. But we chose egg noodles for this one, so that's going to go in the bottom here. Do my best to plate this up for you guys. Then we'll add the stew. I'm just gonna move this right over here. Oh, that looks good. I'm already making a mess. Add one little pretty onion there. A little bit of green. Toast point on the side. And that is about as fancy as I get. I normally don't do this stuff, but anyway, this is what we've got. I'll be real honest with you. I was a little out of my comfort zone doing this one because like I said, we usually do stuff really quick. We're busy and I like quick stuff. I usually try to eat really healthy. This one had a lot of steps, so it took me out of my comfort zone, but we got it done. I'm sure it's going to taste great. So big thank you to Chef Lance for putting this on the website. If y'all want to check it out, go to FromFieldToTable.com. If you like this video and y'all want to see some more, please hit that subscribe button. Also leave us some comments. We want to hear what you guys think and what else you all would like to see. Hit that bell for notifications and you'll get an update every time that we post something new, which we do every Friday. So let's give this one a quick taste. Get a little bit of everything right here. Found the other bay leaf. Really good, really hearty. I'm gonna dig into some noodles. One thing for sure, y'all should try it.